I was going to do a big show opening number, like I had dancers planned, I had pyrotechnics, glitter, but I kind of blew the budget on that parody at the start, so I say we just start. So my plan when I first came into Ravensbourne was to do the kind of very standard like writer-director thing and see where that might take me. But over the years I've been there, leaving university now, I now want to go into assistant directing because it's something that I did back in first year and I carried it over into second year when I finally got a work placement with the BBC, and I kind of fell in love with it from there. So my plan for employability when I leave Ravensbourne is to look to the network of people that I have, which I'll talk about in the next section, but it's things like getting onto job sites, it's getting onto talking to my network and trying to get on things like work experience, or even getting a contract or daily work, which is more than likely the thing to do. So my plan for employability is kind of to, I don't like to use the term networking because I don't really like standing in rooms shaking hands, but it is to use my contacts and see if I can get onto sets and through like a friend of a friend, that sort of thing. I have no family that work in this industry, so it's a slight wall up, but I'm already circumnavigating that due to the people that I've met during my time at the university. So during my first year at Ravensbourne, I managed to get a work placement on a BBC show called Informer, and the third AD on that was a man called Daniel Parslow, who I have now worked with on a number of occasions, most recently 2 weeks ago, who has been, he'll never say it and I'll never say it, but he has been a mentor to me over the past few years, and he is
not allowed to mention, but Alison, that's no reason to get back with Martin.
He started off doing running for free on NFTS shoots because they work with professional ADs, and from there he did a year at Hobby City, and from there his career has just done incredibly well, and I am very excited to see what his career will look like in 10-15 years, because he is starting to become an incredible, he already is, but he's starting to become an even more incredible third AD who will go on to do some incredible things, and I hope to be there below working for him and supporting him throughout that time. There's Jay Solomon, who is a former rave student who I've met a few times now, mostly through extras work, but now that I know that he's Ravensbourne, we've kept in contact, thankfully, because he was nice enough to give me some pointers, and he seems like the sort of person as well whose career I can emulate, because we're both of roughly the same age. And finally, there's a first AD that I have worked with twice now, who I admire a lot, called Nick Justin, who works a lot on high-end TV series. I believe he's just about to go on to an Amazon Prime series, who has also talked to the NFTS before, who I get along very well with, and helped me to see more of the first AD managerial side when I worked with him on a CBeebies shoot, and how he conducted himself and how professional he can keep it. The person I'd most like to emulate to be is an AD called Thomas Gormley, who is this brilliant Scotsman who has AD'd, I think, on almost every major production out of Hollywood for the past few years.
He's done something incredibly special. It's really rich and it's fresh, and yet it pays homage to the original films. It's something really special.
And I don't doubt that, because I've seen the other films that you've worked on, and I've seen the other films.
Amazing guy who's just incredibly organised. I hope he does. I know he's going to do very well in his career as a second when he gets to it. But also Thomas Gormley would be the person to most aspire to be like. In fact, no, it's not to be like Thomas Gormley, it's to be better than. It would be to be better than Thomas Gormley would be the dream for me in about 2 or 3 decades, probably. My strengths are, I've always been a leader. I'm not a big fan of taking orders unless it's from people that I know can do the job. I've never been a big fan of that. Been quite a good leader. I don't panic. I'm a very laid back person. I always have been. Like I've never seen the point in panicking about things to such an extent that you're immobilised by it. Quite good at communicating. One of the biggest skills as an assistant director. I'm a very good communicator. I can tell you what I need and what I want without umming or ahhing. and being very blunt, sometimes too blunt, with what we need and to get straight to the point. That's just how I am, just as a conversationalist, which makes me terrible at dinner parties. And very practical with how I schedule shoots, which I guess are honest. I guess that's a strength, but it can also be a massive weakness. I think being a bit too honest sometimes. On the weakness side of it, I'm always in a very set way of doing things, simply because of the way I've been trained to be an AD and the people that I've spoken to. And that can sometimes be very difficult to change, which is a big weakness for me. It can certainly be very opinionated, especially if something's not going the way like I think it needs to. So I need to get a lot better at being more empathic with how other people like to shoot and how other people like to do things, and then come to a compromise. And there's no other weaknesses because I'm absolutely perfect. No. I think the last one is a lot of self-doubt. A lot of self-doubt I suffer from. A lot of, am I doing this the right way? Am I doing it the way it should be done? So yeah, a lot of things like that. But I learnt from Dan and Nick that sometimes having self-doubt is good. You can change that into a positivity with time and experience, which I do not have a lot of yet. But sometimes self-doubting yourself can be good, to be able to ask questions about your own decisions and see if you can. Networks that I have available to me, thankfully, to people like Jay, Solomon, and other runners I've met, is a big one called Coolbox TV. Coolbox TV is an agency specifically designed for runners and PAs and ADs, and unfortunately and unfortunately, you need to have a certain amount of credits to be able to get onto it, but thankfully, if this year goes well, I will have that amount, and it's a paid service, so it's in their best interest to get you work, which is brilliant. And some of the stuff the amount of things, from what Jay was telling me, the amount of things they get you onto are like these huge films that just need someone to do a crowd lock off, but for someone like me, it's incredible for the CV, and it's incredible to have that kind of see how like a major Hollywood set would do things and how it can help strengthen me as a runner and an AD. First job in film is another big one, which I haven't used yet, but I will be getting onto as soon as I leave. I just want to be able to make sure that it's the right thing for me first. And finally, the National Film and Television School. I have an opportunity next year to possibly go to it and do their assistant directing diploma course due to contacts that work there and would happily have me on because they know me from actually working with them on sets, and that would be really nice to do. So hopefully with that kind of network behind me, all I've got to do is get to the point where I can be accepted onto them and complete, and especially in the NFTS case, complete them. Plan at the moment for me in terms of what I want to do is I would like to be a third AD by the time I'm 30. I will be 25 when I leave Ravensbourne, and I want to be a third AD by the time I'm 30, be a first by the time I'm 40, which I think is a very nice 15-year, it's a 5-year and 10-year plan put together. How I plan to do that is I'm going to have to do a lot of daily running for I think probably a year or two, and then if I can get 2 contracts, apparently the goal is to get 2 contracts with people, someone like Netflix or BBC. If you get 2, you're pretty much set. From there on out, the ball just starts to roll very heavily in your favour and things start coming your way, which is great. That's kind of it really from me. I want to say thank you and watch this space, because hopefully it's going to be a really, really exciting 5 years. I may be an NFTS graduate by this time next year. I may be on an agency, and I may have worked on some of the big films that I've always wanted to work on. Thank you for the time and the attention you gave me, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.